What is going on, Nuggets Nation NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner. Welcome back to Nuggets Today, presented by Fan Arch. We have some topics to cover for you guys today. Sorry, I'm looking away. I'm just grabbing my notes. The first topic I want to start with is actually, I think, the most appropriate topic just because it is fully backpacking off of last episode, because this episode is recorded the day after. And the latest update on Monte Morris is that he is officially not signing with the Pacers because he has a calf strain, is the report that I saw. So it looks like he's dealing with a little bit of an injury. The Pacers don't want to take the risk on him. He is a veteran. He's a guy that's pushing up there in age, and I think that, like I said, they run a deep rotation. You know, they're a team that you see a guy like Ben Shepherd when they needed moments in the playoffs for a guy to come in and play, and Ben Shepherd was that guy to do it. We saw Neesmith, we saw Nemhard create their roles. You saw Tony Bradley when Thomas Bryant wasn't filling in the role that he needed to. So the Pacers are a team that run a very deep bench, and it doesn't really surprise me that if somebody is injured, they're not going to bring them in and not take the chance. But that does mean Monte's still in the market right now. It might be hard for him to find a permanent home just because of the injury he is dealing with. So I do hope that he ends up being okay and that the injury isn't terrible, and that hopefully he finds his way onto a roster. I've covered multiple times. I think that I would love him on Denver. Just for the nostalgia purposes, I think maybe, but he is a guy that is a good backup point guard. He's an offensively talented backup point guard. I know he's too small. The defensive liability is pretty significant when it comes to a guy like, I guess, Pickett. So maybe they don't bring him in, but like I said, just the reunion of a guy like Monte Morris would be great, in my opinion, for a team like Denver. But I don't think that he makes that push to make them a championship contender again. I just think he's a backup ball handler that could be good for Denver. There's still some guys out there who I think could make the push for them. And I think that not that he's a name that would make the push, but DeLon Wright is a guy who could be up there. And maybe they make a trade. Maybe they get rid of a guy like Strother, Watson. Not that I want that to happen. Pickett, Tyson, Najee in the year, throughout the year, and they grab a guy like McConnell. They get a guy like Scottie Pippen. Who knows? Obviously, it's all speculation. We're still waiting, but we are pushing closer to the season to start. So the season start at least. So, like I said, I'm happy that Monte is, or I'm not happy, but I'm upset that Monte got dropped. But I will be happy if he does find his way onto a roster this upcoming season. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is a team that I think is a super, super, super talented team. In the Western Conference, even though Kyrie Irving isn't hurt, you still got to think about D'Angelo Russell. I know that he's a shell of what he once was, but he's still a good point guard on a team that is, in my opinion, elite. Now, you look at it, right? They have 4 players in the top 100, one of those being Cooper Flagg, a guy who hasn't played a minute. Like I covered last episode, PJ Washington's a guy that's there. And then when you think about their team in general, they have 4 people who are projected to be top 100 players. Then you think Kyrie comes back eventually. He's going to be elite. Then you think about who their centers are. Supposedly, Derek Lively is now 7'3", so he's going to be a paint demon when it comes to his defense. You have Gafford, who's a guy who's just a double-double machine. You have role players all around. Najee Marshall's a guy who could be an actually semi-decent role player when it comes to him shooting the ball. Obviously, you have PJ, who might be coming off the bench this year. Anthony Davis is there. Their paint defense is, honestly, it's amazing. It's very hard to compete with, and I think that's one thing that everybody's overlooking when it comes to Denver. Sure, you have Val. Sure, you have Duran. Sure, you have Jokic still. But their paint defense is going to be insane. They have Anthony Davis and Derek Lively playing together, and when they don't have Derek Lively out there, they have Daniel Gafford out there, who I know he's not as big of a body, but he's a physical specimen when it comes to him being playing in the paint. He's only 6'9", 6'10", but that man hustles for rebounds. He boxes out. He is really a paint bruiser. So that's a team that makes me a little nervous. Like I said, maybe the point guard spot's a little weak. I do think that we see maybe Brandon Williams or Jaden Hardy cut, which could be a good signing for Denver, or released, I guess, just because they wanted to bring back Dante Exum so badly, and they ended up doing so by cutting Olivier Maxence Prosper, so a guy that I covered for Denver. But I think they're a team that scares me. They really are. They're a team that I'm very nervous about. Kyrie Irving will probably come back by the end of the season, and when he does, if he does, they're going to be the team to beat, in my opinion. They're going to be a legitimate contender, and like I said, they really do scare me. Their paint defense scares me. The three-point shooting ability with Cooper Flagg, unless he takes a dip his rookie year, PJ, Klay Thompson, Dante Exum, D'Lo, they're a scary team, in my opinion. Now, let's get to the 50 to 100. Like I said last episode, I covered the 100 to 50 of ESPN's rankings. So the 50 to 100 includes, I believe, 3 Denver Nuggets. I guess you guys could assume who those are now that we saw Cam, obviously, in the 100 to 50. The first Nugget that is there on the back end of the list, the tail end, is Aaron Gordon at 49. He is only over the one person who, from the 50 down, he's only over one person, which is LaMelo Ball. But he is under a few people, and like I said, I'll get to my take after the same thing I did last episode. He is under Randall, he's under Mobley, he's under DeRozan, he's under Kristaps, and he's under Ingram. The next player on the list is Jamal Murray, a guy who I think that we all know is that good of a player. And he is over Chet, Lauri Markkanen, Drew Holiday, Rudy Gobert, and he is under Karl-Anthony Towns, Sabonis, Jimmy Butler, Zion, Fox, Paolo, and Damian Lillard, I believe. And obviously, I think we could all know, or we could all figure out who that last person is when it comes to being from 50 to 1, and that is the number 1 player ranked on ESPN's list, the Joker himself, Nikola Jokic, the best player in basketball, and I could not agree more. So I'm going to go right to my thoughts. My thoughts, 100%. I think that Jokic is easily the best player. I think that tier it's not interchangeable right now with anybody. People want to put Shea up there. Shea's not top 3, in my opinion. I think it's not in order, but it's Luka, Giannis, Jokic, and I think Jokic is number 1. And then that 2 and 3 is interchangeable with those 2 players. I think they have Wemby up there in top 5. I think that, honestly, if you're talking, I don't know what they base the list off of, because you have guys who were just hurt and weren't as good as certain players, and I'll get to that in a second. But if they're basing it off pure talent and expectations of a player, potential, I guess, Wemby's probably number 2. Number 3 maybe under Giannis or Luka, but he's better than Shea, in my opinion, when it comes to potential. Not as a basketball player right now, when it comes to potential. I'm going to get to AG. 49 is a little high for me, or like a little low, I guess. I'm trying to explain. He's too high up on the list. I think that he's better than a top 50 player, especially some of the people that are under him. Randall, I don't think so. DeRozan, I don't think so. Kristaps, I guess, if you're thinking, in the Eurobasket Kristaps, not the playoff Kristaps. And Brandon Ingram, a guy who didn't play majority of the season this past year, is not better than Aaron Gordon. But like I said, so be it. Now, Jamal, over Chet, Lauri, Holiday, Gobert, under Cat, which Drew Holiday is not better than Aaron Gordon. I think that we could all get that clear. I don't know why he would be on the list under Aaron Gordon, who is an offensively more talented player. In the defense, I understand. And Jamal Murray being under Cat, I agree with. Sabonis, sure. Jimmy, sure. Zion, no. Listen, Zion's very good at basketball. We all know that. Zion doesn't play basketball majority of the time. I think he's played. I got to calculate the amount of times he's played in the last 3 years, but I guarantee it's less than Jamal. Fox, same thing. I think that Jamal's a little bit better than Fox. I just think the offensive talent from Jamal's side is better than Fox. Finishes at the rim, and he can also shoot better than De'Aaron Fox. And Damian Lillard, a guy that just tore his Achilles and is coming back from injury. I don't get how you could put him so high on the list. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I will catch you guys next episode. If you guys want me to cover anything, please let me know down below.